in the Pledge of Allegiance? Oh,
I'd
sorry.
love to.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank you, Judy. Robert, I pledge allegiance
to the flag
flag
of the
of the
United
United States of America,
of America,
to
to
the
the
republic
republic
to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty.
with liberty and justice for all. We do that a lot better when we're together.
Much.
Catherine, you got to pick someone else next time.
And Robert, thanks for the flag.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any public comment that's coming?
For the record, there is no public comment.
Well, I guess we're going to go right into closed session. And Jeff, lead us in this closed.
Judy, green light.
Of course.
Are we out?
One more moment. Hmm. I'm just waiting for reply.
So there are goats kind of outside by my house right now, and they might make noise when I have to unmute.
Okay.
Mute. When you unmute.
You know, I
Holy.
apologize. Scott is not replying to my messages, so he must have stepped away
Well, we could
from
take,
the,
Judy, maybe we could take a 10 or 15-minute break, and then by that time he'll be back.
sure.
I'm ready.
Do you have a phone number to call him?
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up here.
I can report out after the break if you'd prefer.
Yes, that will work. Okay,
So,
Are we going to take a break then?
yes.
so
Okay.
Quincy, in jurisdictions like
You just want to make
Portland,
sure we're not on, well, he's not there, so we're off the record.
So,
You can remove him
so
from the group,
far,
put him back in the waiting room.
Yeah, yeah.
Closed session.
Jeff, would you please report out for us?
Sure. On the disability retirement application of Clint Burns, the board unanimously approved his service-connected disability retirement. And on the anticipated litigation matter, direction was given to staff and council.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Are there any concerns that need separate action on the consent agenda? Seeing none, is there any discussion or action regarding, oh, excuse me, I'm terribly sorry. Okay, moving on to the investment matters, our monthly investment report from Robert.
Hi, as you can see, we kind of went back down to where we were basically the prior month in terms of the investment report. So it's down a little bit. One thing I did want to mention to the board, following the direction from the August meeting, we began moving away from a large cap active space. And just starting this month, we've actively began that transition. And we expect that to finish, depending on what happens with the market, in January of next year. So that's a slight update just for the investment report.
Okay. Is there any discussion and action regarding the investment matters? Okay, then moving on to the quarterly budget updates, beginning with 2020 financial budget update. Then it's the final budget update.
Yeah, board. So before you've got the final budget update. Like I mentioned in the memo, very few items have changed. The biggest change there is with regard to how we're going to treat the actuarial services charges going forward. And again, like I addressed in the memo, we're going to be breaking out those charges, whereas in the past, we had previously reported them in aggregate as one line item in the investment subsection. Going forward, we're going to break that expense apart, and the valuation is going to be charged to the investment subsection. All the other actuarial services charges are going to be reported in the new line item, consulting actuary, in the administrative subsection. So that is really the biggest change for the year end compared to the year end budget update that you had a few months ago.
Okay, and then is there any discussion? And then on the fiscal year 2021, we'd like to discuss a preliminary budget update for the first quarter.
Yes, board, the budget update is there before you, and that budget update doesn't have any big surprises, I don't believe. But if you have any sort of questions or comments, I'd be more than happy to answer them for you.
Okay, seeing none, we can move on to the item number 7, discussion and possible action regarding the proposed budget amendment.
Yeah,
That's number 6.
I'm sorry, yes, number 6.
Yeah, board. And so as I detailed in the memo, I kind of went over the reporting issue with regard to the budget that we would have without the budget amendment here. In addition, we also have our addition, as you can see, for the extra help person. That's about $23,000. We expect that to help support ongoing activities. The new line item that you see in the administrative section is actually the previous budget amount already approved. So while that does show up as an additional $28,000 up in the administrative subsection, it was included in the original actuarial budget. So that really hasn't changed other than its location in the report. The largest, one of the bigger changes, I guess, the biggest change is really in the technology subsection. Like I detailed in the memo, at this time, it's not 100% clear exactly how much reprogramming we're going to need from LRS. But the expectation is that by doubling our second and third quarter budgets, that should essentially cover any additional costs related to that expectation. One thing that has also come to light is just even though we did have our business continuity plan in place and we had many pieces in place that functioned efficiently, the one thing that we kind of didn't anticipate was the need for the county services. We've had increased need for additional county services all across the board, and we hope that with this additional request for funds, that will cover that increased expense. I mean, it's anything from checking an email filter to helping set up a VPN to remotely restarting something. So there's a lot of somewhat minor expenses, but they do tend to add up. And so that's the increase in technology.
So specifically, that's related to COVID and working remotely and having Zoom meetings and all.
Yes, yeah. The investment subsection, like I detailed in the memo, one of the managers has really outperformed in the last quarter. T-Row has performed extremely well, and they may continue to do that. And that is the increase in that single line item there. Of course, if things don't go so well throughout the rest of the year, it's hard to say what's going to happen. If things don't go so well, that number is going to be lower. There's no way that the asset values are going to be as high, in which case we're not going to incur as high of an expense. So this is kind of an upper limit. Last year's actuals were $545,000. So it's hard to say where we're going to land this year, but we feel that that's a good expectation. The actuary services line item, again, that's just us moving the other money and accruing the $40,000 from the previous year. So the full budget, as you can see, was $136,500. That was what is approved, but we accrued $40,000 of that back to the previous year. And so now we have $96,500 as a total budget, but that total budget is split between this investment valuation line item of $68,000 and the $28,000 up in the administrative subsection. As of this morning, we were at $583 million, just north of that on our portfolio. So it is likely that we're going to have to increase the custodial charges just because they're largely based off of our net asset value that's being held. Overall, the total increase in the budget is 1.38%.
I move approval of the fiscal year 2021 budget amendment.
Second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Judy, would you please do a roll call vote?
Yes. Ms. Shatmeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Forrester,
Yes.
Ms. Cavaness,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Cromer,
Aye.
Mr. Knutson,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Aye.
and Mr. Jurdy.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. Is anybody else having trouble opening up the documents? I had them all open yesterday, but now none of them are opening. They say web page not working.
I can't do it off the website, Kathy, but I'm in Filer and can get it.
Okay, I'll go into Filer then. Okay, thank you.
Okay, motion passes, and we are moving on to item number 7, discussion and possible action regarding resolution 2020-11, defining compensation earnable pursuant to government code section 31461 for members who are not subject to government code section 7522.34 non-PEPRA members.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This resolution adds a new pay code the County of Mendocino has set up for comp time payment at termination. We recommend adoption of this. It is a non-pensionable payment at termination.
I'll move to approve.
Second?
Seconded.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
I just had a question that this was previously maybe all in CTO paid and they're just making the distinction of CTO terminated.
I'm guessing that must have been how it was done in the past, but yes, they created a new pay code to account for payments at termination.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, Judy, would you please do a roll call vote?
Yes. Ms. Shatmeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Forrester,
Yes.
Ms. Cavaness,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Cromer,
Aye.
Mr. Knutson,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Aye.
Mr. Jurdy.
Yes.
Approved.
Okay, moving on to item 8, discussion and possible action regarding resolution 2020-12, defining pensionable compensation pursuant to government code section 7522.34 for members who are not subject to government code section 31461 PEPRA members.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the corresponding resolution to amend the definition of compensation earnable for PEPRA members for the comp time payment at termination. It is also non-pensionable for PEPRA members. Recommendation is to adopt this resolution.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Judy, would you please do a roll call vote?
Can I confirm the first motion?
Motion to adopt resolution 2020-12 as recommended.
And who seconded that motion?
I did, I think.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Ms. Shatmeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Forrester,
Yes.
Ms. Cavaness,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Cromer,
Aye.
Mr. Knutson,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Aye.
and Mr. Jurdy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Next, discussion and possible action regarding conflict of interest policy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The conflict of interest policy was up for its triannual review of the board. This was run through board counsel, who indicated that there were no changes regarding any state or other statutes to incorporate. The changes in this version are mostly just changing the title from a retirement administrator to executive director and updating the date for last review.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Okay. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, Judy, please do roll call vote.
Right. Sherry Shatmeyer,
yes.
Ms. Forrester,
Yes.
Ms. Cavaness,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Cromer,
Aye.
Mr. Knutson,
Yes.
Ms. Harris. Aye. And Mr. Dirty.
Yes.
Thank
Motion
you.
Number 10, discussion and possible action regarding administrative hearing policy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The administrative hearing policy is being brought back a year before its normal regular review schedule, simply to update it to reflect the change from retirement administrator to executive director, because the copy of this policy will be sent out to members if necessary. And we wanted to make sure it was accurately reflecting current titles of the positions.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, is there any discussion?
You know, I do have a question on that. Most of our policies will continue the executive director term throughout, and this one doesn't. So I'm not sure it's consistent, but I think it might be clearer to people, especially on the form that is the statement of claim, that there is an executive director, not just the director. I would just prefer to see it executive director, but I'm okay with whatever.
Thank you. We can make that update.
Okay,
Can't we just make a blanket resolution for staff where as anything just comes up to change the title in all documents, instead of going through this on every policy that we have?
But we have to
I
review the
agree,
policies
Lee.
anyway.
Yeah.
Well, okay. We didn't have to review the policy this time, did we? Oh, I guess we did. Yeah, it comes up for scheduled review. Is that it?
This one might be early.
This one was 1 year early.
is there any further discussion? Is there a motion to approve?
There already was.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm sorry. Okay,
It's okay.
Judy, could you do a roll call?
Yes. Ms. Shatmeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Forrester,
Yes.
Ms. Cavaness,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Cromer,
Aye.
Mr. Knutson,
Yes.
Ms. Harris. Aye. And Mr. Dirty.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Item 11, discussion and possible action regarding portable electronic device policy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This policy was up for its triannual review. The only thing reflected in this was the correction of the term retirement administrator to executive direction and indexing up of the.
Is there any discussion?
Well, I might just point out that in this one, it says executive director all the way through.
Yep.
And the other one didn't, so.
You're right, Kathy.
Okay, is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the portable electronic device policy as proposed.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, Judy, would you please do a roll call vote?
Ms. Chatmeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Forrester,
Yes.
Ms. Cavaness,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Cromer,
Aye.
Mr. Knudsen,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Aye.
and Mr. Dirty.
Yes.
Thank you. Approved.
Okay. The next agenda item, discussion and possible action regarding board work plan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The board work plan is presented for your review. As you know, MSERA has 4 strategic objectives. Each one is reflected here, showing the strategies employed and the specific tactics in support of that objective, along with the current status of projects and items being worked on in support of the board objective. I did change the format a little bit to include some additional information. While not a specific board project, I did add some information on under the tactics and actions section to show specific items that have come up during the year that staff and the board have taken as far as actions to support. So this has some day-to-day operational items that are in support of our board objectives outside of the larger scope of projects. I just thought that information might be nice for the board to see.
I'm having a hard time, Doris. I don't know if I'm the only one with your voice going in and out or any other. That's okay. It sounds like a connection.
I'm having the same problem, but this is the first time. Prior to that, it's been very clear.
Sorry, I might be having some connection issues. Were there any questions regarding the board work plan? The additional information that I provided was just some additional actions that staff and the board have taken in support of the specific objectives listed in our strategic plan.
Doris,
Doris, if you would, it says that the organizational review of positions is delayed by HR. Do you have any idea how long or why?
I believe it's an HR staffing issue. It was on hold prior to the start of my employment with MSERA. The director of HR did reach out to me and acknowledge that, yes, we still are in the queue and they hope to get back to that at some point in the near future, but he did not provide a date. I'm happy to reach back out to him and see if he can provide a timeline for that. But I believe it's just due to the volume of work and staffing issues, then of course things having been complicated by the state of emergencies for COVID and the fires now.
Well, maybe if he knows that there are board members who are questioning the holdup, or at least one.
I say this, but it usually takes a long time for HR to do things, and it may have maybe a staffing issue on their department. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'll check in and see what I can find out.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the board work plan? Any other discussion?
I like the detail that you put in there, Doris. It does help explain some things.
Thank you.
Okay, could we have a motion to approve the current board work plan?
So moved.
Do we do that?
Well, it says here possible action regarding the board work plan, so that would mean a vote. I don't know that we.
It's receiving.
Only if you're amending the board work plan.
Is it like a receive and file?
Receiving.
We can do that. We can do received and filed, thank you, and then move on. But it's just the way the agenda is set up that it's
It just gives you flexibility for possible action, but you don't
Yeah.
have to take any.
okay. So we can move on to the next, since everybody, it's unanimously, we agree. Received and filed. So we'll move on to 13, to the administrative report.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
in the administrative report, we have an update on the Board of Retirement elections and appointments. MSARA received only one declaration of candidacy for both the 3rd and 8th seats on the board, and 2 declarations of candidacy for the 10th seat. An election of the retired member was held for the 10th seat, which is the alternate retired member, and the canvassing of ballots occurred on October 13th, 2020. A consent agenda will appear on the November 3rd Board of Supervisors agenda to certify the results of the canvass for the 10th seat, declaring Jim Anderson the winner, and direct MSARA Executive Director to cast a single ballot in the non-contested elections and declare the winners of the 3rd seat to be Catherine Cavness and the winner of the 8th seat to be Richard Shoemaker. Additional information on terms that are expiring are listed there for the board's reference. We have 2 that are expired and members are continuing to serve until those positions are filled. And we have 2 positions that technically expire at the end of November. If you know anybody interested in serving, please let them know that we do have seats available. Under administrative and operations updates, regarding the Alameda correction notices, on the issue of the vacation cash out, we sent notices to approximately 20 members regarding adjustment of their benefit due to the court's decision in the Alameda case. We are working on a time frame in which to address the active and deferred members as far as refund of contributions on the disallowed pay types. We have interviewed candidates for an extra help position, and a decision on that should be made here shortly. The workstation we have and plan to use for that position does need to be updated with a new SSD card and Microsoft Office licenses at an estimated cost of $400. We are considering the use of an answering service to provide support for the board, since with COVID, our offices are often at reduced staff or closed, that would allow us to have a service answering the phones and providing email messages to our general mailbox for staff to obtain and respond back to folks. We thought this might be a better option than just having them all leave voice messages on our main line. The cost of that starts at $75 per month plus 70 cents per call. And then also attached for your reference were the SACRS legislative update and the SACRS tax monitoring report. If you have any questions, I'm happy to address any questions.
Is there any discussion, any questions?
I do have something here. Trying to understand, and Doris or maybe Dan can answer as well, the appointments. The two of us have expired, the seats, and 2 go off this November. Is there, what do I want to say, promotion or some request by the Board of Supervisors for new people to apply, or what is going on with that?
The county maintains a boards and commissions vacancy list, and we currently are reflected on that with 2 vacancies. I don't know if Dan has anything else to add regarding that process.
The list is posted along with other positions. I'm not aware of anyone submitting an application to fill the positions other than perhaps you, Kathy.
So if I submitted an application to fill that position, then does it go out to others that might want to, buy for the spot?
Supervisor for approval. I don't know, and I don't believe we have any other applications pending.
Okay, I just remember that when I came on I guess 4 years ago now, or 3 years ago, that I went before the Board of Supervisors. But if there's nobody else wanting the job, I wouldn't do that again. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I don't know, Dan.
You will move forward with the recommendation because you're already on the board, and I would certainly be recommending your reappointment. It's just if there are one or two people applying for the other position, that we may be doing interviews for that other position.
Okay, okay.
Well, thank
May
you.
I add, Jerry Harris had a similar question recently. And so I did direct her to the clerk of the board's office to discuss whether or not you truly need to submit new application, since they already have your existing application on file, and to work with them on making sure you have the correct paperwork into them so they can take your appointment back to the Board of Supervisors to ratify.
Did you find out anything, Jerry?
No, I haven't. I went online to try to see the
Okay.
application, and my
Okay,
internet has been real schizo lately, so I may just go in and talk to them.
okay, we can talk later. Thank you.
Yeah.
And let me know if you need assistance with that. I can try to help.
You might want to
Thanks,
call,
Judy.
you might want to call. I don't know that you can walk into the executive office.
Okay, will do.
I know you
Doris,
can make an appointment, but I don't think you can just walk in random, so.
I had a question on the answering service. It sounds like, so your phone system is not the similar one through the county phone system?
That's correct. We're not on the voice over internet protocol, which most of the county offices use as a standalone system. We have certain other limitations that maybe some other departments don't have.
I just wonder if that would actually be, if that's something that you could utilize and be a more inexpensive option than the answering service.
We did look at, in the past, prior to my tenure, moving on to the VoIP system with the county, and there was some issue with support out at our office, but we are going to check with IS to see if that might be an option for us now.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else regarding the administrative report? Thank you very much, Executive Director.
Thank you.
And we will move on to general board member discussion. Is there any?
Catherine,
Yes.
is it not possible when we do several, even though we're remote, several very small changes, director to executive director, dates, whatever, that we don't have to call everybody's name, that we could say all in favor, say aye. I know we're remote and I know we want to keep a record, but these things are so routine, and it just, during the discussion time, if someone is opposed to something or has a question, that's when they would bring it up instead of making Judy go through roll call every time.
Ms. Harris, my suggestion might be if we would be able to combine all three or anything regarding like a policy update into one item that would be voted on. You'd have to break off if there was one that you didn't want to adopt, but Jeff?
Of course. Yeah.
So I believe, I can't even remember anymore. March seems so long ago to me, but the governor issued an executive order suspending parts of the Brown Act and put some other controls in place, if you will. And one of those is to have a roll call vote on every item because we are remote. So I believe we're required to do that.
Do you have
Bummer.
Jeff, on whether or not we could have had one discussion and possible action regarding policy updates, and then list like 9A conflict of interest, 9B administrative hearing, and doing it as one item?
I would recommend continuing with the same process, and it's slightly cumbersome, but it only takes 30 seconds. And so hang in there, and one day the COVID will be behind us. But I guess it's going to be for several months.
Let's hope.
Yes.
Let's hope. Thank you, Jeff, for clarifying. Okay, We'll move on to general board member discussion. We're already in board member discussion. I just wanted to remind everyone that the Fall Sackers Conference is November 10th through the 13th, and it's all remote Zoom. And they have some very interesting presentations that you might want to attend. You can, I don't know how many of you are planning on attending. Is anyone planning on attending?
I am because I need hours.
Okay. And
I'm
Jeff,
not because I don't.
oh, well, okay.
On
Sure.
that,
Yes,
on
if I
that same note, is anybody attending the virtual trustees roundtable on Friday? Because I'm signed up for that one.
Ah, I may look at that one too, Kathy.
Okay.
Hey, Tim, can I buy your extra hours?
There you go. Yeah, we'll talk.
Oh, Jeff, is that acceptable?
Purchase of service type credit, you mean?
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
Oh, what fun you were missing, Richard.
If I may report out a training I attended to the board. I attended the Callan College October 13th through the 15th online meetings. I believe Robert was there as well. And the training included topics of the role of fiduciary, and we discussed the prudent man rule and modern portfolio theory and the duties of the fiduciary. We've heard in other trainings, but include the duty of loyalty, care, diversity, and to follow the plan documents, such as the investment policy statement. We did discuss the investment policy statements and how they serve as a roadmap for your plan and setting objectives for the board and expectations and approach to the investment program. We discussed capital markets and asset allocation, manager structure, manager search, and unfortunately the last topic of performance monitoring, I was unable to continue on with that end of the training, but I would say that Callan College was an excellent experience, and I will attend more, and I would recommend it to any of the other trustees for continuing education.
Thank you, Julie, for sharing that. It makes me want to attend too. It's difficult sometimes to do that with our regular jobs, but it's certainly worth it.
Well, I can second that on Callan College. I did that maybe last year or the year before, and it was well worth it. Yes.
Good.
It's worth it just to visit the tower in San Francisco, if anybody's never been there.
Zoom, by
It is
Zoom.
Zoom, yeah.
Well, one of these days, we won't have to do Zoom anymore.
Catherine, could I bring up, since I only have one more meeting and I've been on the, it used to be audit and budget committee, now I believe it's just budget committee for a number of years. We should get it on the agenda to replace me on that committee.
Yes, okay. So how does that work with Jim Anderson coming on? Will he, how do we do that? If he's interested or if nobody else is interested? I'm not sure what the protocol is on that.
So for the December meeting, that'll be Jim's first meeting. And typically we Catherine, you will assign trustees to the audit committee. We'll also have board seat election. So for chair, vice chair, and secretary. And that'll be first up on the agenda after Jim's sworn in.
Oh, great. Okay, so I could appoint him then if he's interested or if anyone else is interested.
I might be interested in that, Catherine, as a CPA and
Yes,
auditor. I might be interested in doing that.
that would be great.
Thanks, Richard.
What's Jim's background?
Jim used to, go ahead.
I'm not
Administrative.
He was worked in the auditor's office. Then he worked as assistant CEO for Mendocino County, or sorry, CEO for Mendocino County. And then he became assistant CEO for Sonoma County. So and he also served as retirement administrator for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, I think. So he's very well qualified, will not miss a beat stepping in. He will be great.
Minor correction, he was the CAO and
Oh.
assistant CEO.
Oh, it wasn't CEO then?
Right.
Okay, yeah, so very, very qualified.
Well, that's
you.
exciting. But we will really miss you, Tim.
Oh, thanks.
And I hope you will be enjoying. Okay.
It's definitely taking a heavyweight to replace Tim, I gotta say.
For sure. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Sure, second.
Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thank
We
you.
won't make any roll call on this one.
Yeah.
No, I guess.
Thank you, everyone.
I didn't
Take care,
realize you
everyone.
had to motion to move to adjourn. Do you always do that, Jeff?
I don't know. I have to look at Robert's rules. I
Yeah.
don't think we'll have any problems over it. All right, good to see you all.